Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight we're going to be talking about John Cougar Mellencamp. Okay, John Mellencamp. The man has been busy for the last few years doing theater shows, and in 2026 he's going to take it to a new level. He's going to be touring and performing his hits for the first time in 17 years. Now, in recent years, John has toured the theater circuit thinking he's more of a performer and a storyteller that just cannot help but get his politics involved, and not everybody who is a John Mellencamp fan agrees with his politics. I have often said that I think politics need to be left out of paying venues so that all of an artist's fans can watch them without being offended. At a recent show not too long ago, one of my biggest videos, I covered this, John Mellencamp chewed out a fan who asked him to please just shut up and play the music because he was going on a political tirade. He continued to berate that fan, asking his people in the back wings to get that man's name. I'm going to talk to him after the show. What a brave lad he's turned out to be. But having said all of that, I've got to tell you, I am a John Mellencamp fan. From the very second I heard Jack and Diane, my brother and I were listening to the radio, and it was the first time they had played it in our local area, and I turned to him and I said, that is a #1 hit. And by the way, a lot of people don't understand, what is that clack sound in that hit? Well, as the story goes, John was recording next door to the Bee Gees, and they had a prototype drum machine. They were only using it to keep the track in time so they could nail down those wonderful Bee Gee harmonies. John knew the engineer and asked if he could use that prototype drum machine to set the tempo. He's recently said that he always has had trouble with drummers. They start off fine, but by the end of the tune tends to speed up. So he used it to set in a click track. On top of that click track, they overdubbed all the pieces, and when they decided to take that click track off, the song sounded worse. So John decided to go ahead and keep it in the song, and his record executives didn't like it at all. As a matter of fact, they didn't like the 3 songs that he had come up with so far, and all 3 of them are staple John Mellencamp songs. Now, I've always been a John Mellencamp fan as far as his music goes, not necessarily his politics, but I can tell you, I always preferred him slightly over Bruce Springsteen. Not a whole lot, but I was more apt to pick up the latest John Mellencamp album than I was the latest Bruce Springsteen album. Now, to promote this whole tour, he's done a video with Sean Penn, of all people, and that's not necessarily a good sign. Of course, they do this little skit where they meet up in this roadside diner, and John saunters over to the jukebox and can't find anything on that jukebox but John Mellencamp songs, saying what a dead end this place is. Self-deprecating humor aside, the skit goes on to announce that it's time for John to get back and to honor his greatest hits. Now, I've looked up the ticket prices for John, and they're not horrible. You can get an outer ring seat for about $110 to about $150. You can get into the second section for about $200 a ticket to about $320. The up front seats, the best seats in the house, go for as much as $915, way too expensive, but nowhere near what, say, a Paul McCartney or a Bruce Springsteen would be asking. Usually, instead of $1,000, they'd be asking anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000, and even more by the time it reaches the black market. Now, he's also doing this tour to promote a brand new album called Orphan Train, and that's due out in 2026. I can only hope that John has gone back to what he used to do. heartland rock and roll, and maybe that's what he is suggesting here by going back to his big hits in promotion of a brand new album. He's out touring his hits, he's got a brand new album to promote. What could possibly go wrong? The only thing that I could fathom that could go wrong is his preaching of politics at these shows. If he's smart, he'll keep his mouth shut, leave his wife at home, and stay away from the likes of Sean Penn. Because you know what? Using a Hollywood actor to promote this tour tells me that quite possibly we're going to hear John Mellencamp, the mouth, and not John Cougar Mellencamp, the artist. Now, I want to know what you guys think here. I know a lot of you are tired of politics on either side of the aisle being preached at paying venues. You've paid for your tickets. You don't need to hear anybody try to change your mind about politics. After all, nobody ever does change anybody's mind about politics. We all are set in our ways, and we don't need another preacher from the pulpit like Bruce Springsteen or Ted Nugent telling us how to live our lives in a more proper and sound-minded way. But I'd like to hear from some of you folks who have been disappointed in his recent shows. If he kept his mouth shut and just promoted his most well-known material and actually came out with a decent album, would you be willing to go and see him, even though he's been off your bucket list for a while because of his mouth? And here's another thing. His voice isn't in great repair from the last things I've seen. He's had a bit of a rest. We'll see what goes on with that. But that doesn't stop Paul McCartney. Besides, his style of heartland rock and roll is going to be a lot more forgiving of a deteriorating vocal approach. If he plays this smart, this could be his most successful tour ever. If he plays it like he's been, this could be a money loser. What do you guys think? Are you interested in seeing John Mellencamp tour in 2026 to hear all of those amazing songs that he gave us? All right, folks, that's the video for tonight. I'm Michael Noland. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. That helps with, the YouTube algorithm spitting the video out to a larger audience, and I certainly appreciate it. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line, but always remember, folks, the secret is we are the tribe.